Hang on a second. Everybody needs a chance to get in anyway. I gotta clean my lens by the looks of it. Oh. There, that's better. Oh my goodness. Happy Labor Day, everyone. I felt like Peg Bundy this morning, dragging my butt out of bed to make pancakes and bacon. All right. Okay, let's roll that beautiful chat. Live chat. Hey. I'm getting ready to chop celery. I'm getting ready to chop celery for the freezer. This is not a video. This is just a live because you've all seen me deal with celery before. Unless, of course, I turn this into a video and show you the end. Linda, Bob, Seashell, right on time as always. Yes, everybody take time to get into your, watch the commercials. Hey, Joe, Flavina, hi, it's been a while. Hi, Mary Jane. There's more than like 3 Mary Janes on here. Hi, Charles. It's going okay. I was on the phone last night, because sometimes you just can't hang up. I was on the phone till after 2 in the morning. And then I told Howie I was going to get up at 9 and make pancakes. So for some reason I kind of just dozed fitfully. I slept for about 2 hours and I dozed fitfully. Got up, made breakfast, went right back to bed and slept until, I don't know, an hour ago, Briar? But an hour ago. So, hi, Michelle, Wilma, Carolyn, Leonard, Judith Ann, Wild Nature Farm, Abby Eggy. Hey, where have you been? I haven't seen you. It feels like a year. Gotta be K. Dean. All right, I'm going to turn the camera down now. Hey, Phoebe. How are you, darling? Hey, Michelle. Okay, I'm going to turn the phone down now so that you can just boringly watch me chop celery. I did not harvest all the celery. Some of it was still really thin. Hi, Hope, Liz F, Tony Nicole, Lena K, We've been jamming. How's it going, Just Mom? Oh, I'm glad, Phoebe. I'm glad. It's been kind of a lazy weekend. Well, not lazy. Howie went to the track. He came home yesterday. We had a nice roast beef dinner. No, there's no video. And now I'm chopping celery, and Howie's going to go and pick my apples before the rest of them fall on the ground. Some of them are like this, and they're beautiful and red. And then he's got to pick beans. And if I'm done chopping celery by then, I might help him. Or, no, it's Monday, isn't it? I have my patrons live. So, I'm glad, Jammin. He did crappy at the track. He said he did really good in time trials and everything. But he just, he broke out, he bogged, he just... So, season's almost over. We got one more race in 2 weeks, and I'm kind of obligated to go to that one because, well, I've only been to like 2 this year. So now I have to, go for the final one of the year. So, and it's not going to be on Thanksgiving this year. So we just may, have our Thanksgiving dinner here this year again. But we'll see. We'll see. You never know. All right, I'm going to turn this down here. Oh, because too many people would rather see what I'm doing. Oh, shoot. There we go. Oh, no. That's not going to work like that, is it? And then there. Can you guys see okay? Hornets. Touch wood, no. No. I want this farther back so I don't drip the water in my... Look at this celery, folks. Yeah, it's going to get rinsed again. I'm going to get out I'm going to put my trays away, and I'm going to just get the strainer out here. Oh, let's get this stuff off the strainer first. Do I have a bucket or something I can put this stuff in? I've got to clean up this dining table. Nobody knows where everything goes except me, so. I was going to put it right onto the trays. I've rinsed it twice, but it's going to have to be rinsed again. What's that? Charles, what did you say, Charles? Now, this looks, there we go. Anything discolored or hollow, you chop that away. I am not doing leaves today for the simple reason is I have more celery to go, and I will save those leaves for seasoning another day. I'm prepping up my things here to chop. So what did everybody do? Central Alberta, the Hornets are awful. Really? Well, nothing would surprise me these days. I mean, let's just call a spade, and this earth is a constant trial. We're always battling something. And if we didn't, we wouldn't know we were alive, folks. Remember, it's always good to have something to be thankful for to help you through the dark times. And I'm always thankful for my family, my friends, you guys especially. You guys get me up out of bed every day. So this batch is going in the freezer. Because I left enough that's still growing, and plus I don't even know if I have celery in my barrel beds. Celery is fairly easy to grow once you know the ins and outs. The ins and outs are, you want to start it in the house in February. It takes a long time to germinate. Sometimes you'll see peppers and tomatoes coming up in 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 days. It can take 12 to 14 days for celery seed to start to sprout. And then the sprouts are so tiny, you almost have to look at it with a magnifying glass. You know what I mean? So, you don't belong in there. You don't belong in there. So there's that. And then celery needs water every day. I'm really grateful it was fairly rainy this year because Howie would water the celery when he was watering the medicinal plants in the greenhouse. Bev, just put those leaves in the dehydrator. Okay, Linda, you did not listen. I said I'm not harvesting the leaves off of this batch, darling, because I have more celery to harvest. So this batch is solely for the freezer. I am going to save leaves, but there's so many leaves. Like, I grew 4 beds of celery, folks. And this is only half of 2 of them. Got my compost bucket down here. I mean to waste nothing. Absolutely. That's what I'm going to be doing with the next batch. The next batch is probably going to be for the dehydrator, which means it'll have to be well blanched. And I will probably be doing leaves to make celery seasoning as well. And I'll tell you something else. For several years, I would pull my celery and wash the roots. Cut the roots off. I no longer do that. If anybody here is new, I cut my celery off. If you notice, there's no roots on here. That one's no good. I cut my celery off above the roots, and I leave the roots in the ground, because if we have an Indian summer, then we're going to get more growth out of the where I cut the celery stalk off. You know how some people put it in water? I leave mine in the ground, because then when I do my garden cleanings after Thanksgiving, I have, I got carrots, I got a bit of celery, I got onions and things like that. Little bug. And I just, clean them all up and make my, garden cleanings. I've got tomatoes, I've got to do my garden medley vegetables, and there's going to be celery and carrots and all kinds of things in it. I'm just going to do garden cleanings all at once, Hey, Tara, how's it going? Jennifer Ocean. Cost me $4 each at the superstore for celery. $24 just to buy 6 celeries to freeze. Oh my God, darling. Where is that, Jennifer? Is that in like Alberta, or where is that? I assume when you say Jennifer Ocean Homestead that you're somewhere near the ocean. Yeah. Things are going to get nuts, especially with a U.S. election year this year. We're trying to push for an election. We're trying to get someone to call an election, Jagmeet Singh, to call an election for Canada. Otherwise, we don't want Trudeau to step down. We just want him out. Made a bucket of laundry soap. That is New Brunswick, right. Wow. Well, I'm encouraged, for as many times as I've seen homeless encampments and stuff like that, folks, I've also seen more gardens in people's yards. And that's always, some people don't get it until they're up against it, right? So we will see. All right. What are you? What kind of bug are you? Teeny tiny bee. Yeah, when I was picking celery yesterday, I grabbed a bunch of celery and there was stinging nettle in it, and I've just finished. The stinging has just left my hand. I don't hate stinging nettle. I mean, sometimes I think it's trying to get your attention because it is a really strong superfood. But I never seem to have the time to get into the stinging nettle harvesting and stuff. I've done it, but not this year. Let's do all of this like this. Go. I'm definitely seeing more gardens popping up now too. I'm surprised that more don't grow in my area since I live in the country. Well, the thing is a lot of people, you got to remember when my parents were kids, my grandmother, my grandmother lived on my dad's side, they lived in Toronto. Now, it's not the Toronto there was today, but my grandmother still had a couple of chickens in the backyard. You know what I mean? In cages. I remember asking Dad that. And I remember asking my dad and my grandmother on my mom's side, well, she had, 13 kids, and between 13 and 15 kids. Not all lived. And she raised, like my parents were both born in the 1920s, which means they lived through a depression. So, I mean, we look at it, like I can remember my mother making, do you remember that movie, A Christmas Story with Ralphie and the BB Gun Guys? And where it always seemed to be that they were eating meatloaf like every day. Well, that was kind of like what it was like growing up in my house. We didn't, things like chickens and stuff like that, those were a treat. Those were a Sunday dinner. It was pretty much meatloaf and hamburger gravy and potatoes and canned vegetables. But that's not the way she was raised. But I still don't understand why my parents didn't put a huge garden in the backyard. because we never used the backyard. They'd lock us outside every once in a while in the backyard, me and my cousin Mary Jane, and say, go play. But, there wasn't really any toys in the backyard and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, I often think that grass is a sign, people take it as a sign of the fact that they can afford to have grass. Grass, I believe, has always been a symbol of prosperity. Because if you had grass, that means you didn't have to grow your own food. Right? So, what are you? Oh, that's just, okay. But now you look at some places now, homeowners associations, you can't dig up your front yard. Right? And I noticed in Gatineau that there were some apartment buildings that actually had garden plots in them. And I also noticed that they started putting a fence up around it because obviously it was getting, robbed. Victory gardens were everywhere. Absolutely. Yeah, I love hamburger gravy too. Ooh, Briar. Oh no, we don't have any potatoes left. We got enough for some mashed potatoes. Do you want hamburger gravy for supper, Briar? Oh. Do you want hamburger gravy for supper over mashed potatoes or what?
Whatever you make, I'm good for.
Okay, baby. Let's talk about everything's laid. Thank you. Well, that's because the British, they used to have like these gardens that were all different shapes, flower gardens with pathways in between them. But once you got grass, you had to have a way of mowing it, right? And people would use sheep. So all the sheep, that's the only reason they grew grass was the sheep kept it close cropped like a golf course, right? And so that's kind of a sign of wealth back in the day. But honestly, we've almost gotten ourselves to the point where gardens are illegal in a lot of, we haven't gotten there, but, take for instance, if, some neighborhoods in Toronto when I was a kid, whole front yards on Pape Avenue, you could tell who the people were that were more immigrants than like my grandparents were immigrants. But you could tell the people coming in from Greece and Italy and stuff like that, their whole front yard, they would put a wrought iron fence around it and they would rip it all up and it would be all vegetables, front and back. And that's, that's just the way it is. I mean, you can't expect people to live in such small places and not have a way of fending for themselves if times get hard, right? So I watch these TikToks sometimes with people from homeowners associations, and I go, why the hell did they buy those? Hey, Lena B. Hey, Brenda here. Jackie. I have never heard of bologna gravy. I didn't hear of all these different gravies until I was visiting John in Ohio. And I made roast beef and Yorkshire pudding with gravy, which is what we had yesterday. And I said to somebody, because there was a bunch of us there, I think it was, it was Greg. Miss Gloria moving on 04's husband. I had to pause and give her a moment of silence there because she has passed. I said, this to us is like your biscuits and gravy. And he said, sausage gravy, bologna gravy, or coffee gravy. And I went, what? So I had a couple of teenage boys helping me this weekend, and one was saying his upper class friend's parents didn't know how to cook a tasty meal. We're in a small town in central Alberta. Well, I mean, my boys know how to cook, right? If nothing else, they learned before they left home, they could boil eggs. They could make Westerns, they could make chicken and rice if they had to.
Category.
Category? Is that what you got? Isn't that your rice and egg and stuff?
Egg and fish.
And so my boys are, Arthur being gluten intolerant and Briar being a taste bud snob a bit. They've learned to cook to suit their taste buds. And guess what? Scratch cooking is always better and healthier for you than anything you can buy in a package. So if nothing else, I've imparted that bit or helped to instill that in my kids. Hey, Jane. It's just fried bologna and then make a simple gravy with it. That just sounds disgusting. I'm sorry. That's just me. I'm the only way I like my bologna is between 2 slices of bread with a little bit of mustard. Oh. I don't like it fried. I had fried bologna when I was a kid, and I wasn't fussy on it, and I've seen it in big slices, like, you get the whole bologna and you slice it and in thick slices to fry it. That's just, bologna's too bloody expensive now. Everything's too expensive. So I love hamburger gravy. I think that's what I'm going to make. The food I grew up on was cheap but filling and nutritious. We were poor but always ate good. Never heard of bologna gravy. I only like it on bread with ketchup. With ketchup, really? When I was a kid, we used to eat ketchup sandwiches. Just bread and butter and ketchup. The only reason I remember that is because when my dad dropped dead when I was 11, he, my uncle who took him to the hospital came home to tell us that, he was really, really honest with us, right? And we said, is he going to be okay? And Uncle Jim Knight said, I don't know, guys. I don't know, guys. It's really bad. So, and then Wendy showed up with Aaron because he was just a toddler. Wendy showed up, and then this one's not good. And she almost dropped him when Billy told her that Dad was in the hospital. He had a heart attack. So the reason I remember ketchup sandwiches is because my brother Bob and I were watching Red Fisher on TV and eating ketchup sandwiches, waiting for news. That's what I remember. I don't like tomato. I don't like mayo either. I'm a plain eater. I'm the kid that would only eat a hamburger with nothing on it. Just a plain patty. And you know what? I'm like that today. If I'm making hamburgers at home, I'll just eat a plain hamburger with salt, pepper, and garlic on a bun. But when I was a kid, it was after Mom died, we went to visit some friends in up near North Bay, and we stopped at a restaurant to eat, and I wanted a plain hamburger, and they brought me a hamburger with everything on it, including cheese. And I was really upset because we didn't get to eat at restaurants very often. It was a big friggin' deal. Like, I can count on one hand how many times my parents took us out to, A&W, when we were, A&W once, the diner for the Christmas tree, and twice when we were on our way to North Bay, we stopped at a restaurant for takeout, like for burgers and stuff. So that's how many times I can remember eating in a restaurant as a kid. Takeout was like a once a year thing, right? And it was usually Chinese because that, but like on steak, I only want salt and pepper. I like my meat seasoned real plain because I don't want to mask the flavor of the meat. Well, there's that too, right? Like, I'm not, I'm really not very liberal with steak spices either. So, okay, I have a great big my big stock pot here full of celery that I cut yesterday. And I rinsed twice, but I'm going to have to rinse it again. See, if your celery is brown, look, see, this is really hollow. It's not good for eating. So, and you'll know when you're cutting it, you can feel it. I think under 16 years old, I remember eating out about 6 times. Well, I remember my 7th birthday. And because we didn't do birthdays like kids do birthdays now. We didn't have parties and stuff. I didn't have a birthday party till after my mom died for my 12th birthday. And my dad did his best, and he wanted to make sure that I didn't miss out on stuff. Whereas, believe it or not, when my mother was alive, she was too busy working to make sure everybody was fed and in clean clothing and fresh bedding and the bills were paid. Because that was part of her job. So I was telling Briar the other day my birthday, right. My 7th birthday. And my mom, that was our thing. You got to request what you wanted for supper, and you got your choice of a birthday cake. Like, Mom always made birthday cakes, but she never asked us what kind of birthday cakes. My brother Bob wanted coffee cake once, so she put instant coffee in the buttercream. It was really, really good. I was telling Briar about that the other day. So she asked me what I wanted for my birthday supper, right? I remember my brother Bob, back in September that same year, he asked for macaroni and cheese. My mom made the best mac and cheese. I don't know. I can try and replicate it to this day. And I add broccoli and all kinds of stuff. But Mom's had very little. She had a lot of flavor in the white sauce because of the mustard and the onion. She put lots of mustard and not lots of mustard, but mustard in the white sauce and onion. And then she would do a mac and cheese the size of this, but in a round bowl, like, the big Pyrex bowls. And then she would put a little bit of cheese in the white sauce. And then she would put like a half a pound of cheese on top with 3 strips of bacon. That was it. There was not, like, I use more in a macaroni and cheese casserole that we eat. But then my mom was a master of making it stretch, right? So, I guess I remember this stuff, I would say, right? So, I started the book yesterday. And when I say I started the book, it doesn't mean I started writing or even anything other than opening the book right and familiarizing myself with the templates and stuff. I have to hunt up pictures of, it's gonna be, you guys requested it, the book that's coming, but it's going to, remember, my last one was simple. It was recipes and pictures, and that took me a year. So I beg you guys, I know I said last year I was going to start working on it, but nothing has come clear in my brain about how to work on it until yesterday, when we talked about making it a frugal living, squeeze that, we're going to call it Squeeze That Quarter, frugal living tips and recipes. And that's exactly what the book's going to be. We're going to do a whole bunch of making it stretch recipes, just like I do on video, but not everybody wants to watch video, you know what I mean? So, Haiti Murray, what? Bev, read what? Read what? I can't scroll back, guys, because I don't. Whose birthday is it? No way! That's right, it is Seashell's birthday. Here we go. Oh, that's a pain in the butt. There we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michelle. Happy birthday to you. Aloha, my love. Mwah! I hope you have a wonderful birthday today, sweetie. Okay, I'm not going to rinse these just yet. I may have to dehydrate some if I don't get these frozen enough. Hey, Angie! How are you, darling? You made it! How's it going? Pamela Quigley. Here in the U.S., they're making hard on farmers markets, wanting people to register gardens in state of Oregon to outlaw home gardening, all kinds of things going on. And you're going to let that happen? Truth is, nobody owns anything in this world. We really don't own the land we live on. Because if you pay taxes on it, the government looks at your taxes as rent and they can take your land whenever you want. Okay? Now, having said that, I'd like to see anybody tell me what I can and cannot do on my God's little acre. That's all I'm saying. Right? Oh, your vertigo's back. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. They want to put a carbon tax on cows. The United States doesn't have a carbon tax. Only Canada does. And guess what? It doesn't fucking work. Whoops. Live stream. Let's stop. Let's stop this right here. This is YouTube. And I need the income from this channel. I cannot afford to have strikes on it. So we're not going to talk about the elephant in the living room. Okay? That's right. That's right. Yeah, I just got my school taxes too. They're actually, I've written a check. I hope I wrote it down on the calendar. Yes, I have. I've written a check. See, if you live in the United States, you honestly don't know what real taxes are like. Okay? Not that you don't, and I'm grateful for that. Like when we would go to the States and we would shop, things were cheaper. And not just because it was the American dollar, but because your taxes are low, right? We pay 40%, Howie and I pay 40% of our income goes out into taxes, insurance, and licenses, like driver's licenses and, but I mean, just in taxes, just in income taxes, property taxes, school taxes, municipal taxes, all of those things, which is school taxes, or not school taxes, property taxes. We pay 40% of our income. 40%. And people go, you're one of the hardest working people I know. No, I'm not. But I work 7 days a week. I actually relaxed a lot this weekend, didn't I, Brar? Oh, he's got his earphones on. He can't hear me. So, yeah. Hey, K-Dean. Well, that's true, Charles. But here, every time if your income goes up, you pay more. Exactly, just me. That's what I'm talking about. Taxes, period. We are one of the highest tax countries in the world without the benefits of what we pay taxes for. Like I know there's other countries in like, Switzerland and the Netherlands and stuff like that. Everything they have is looked after, but they pay for it, right? We pay all these taxes. I have to pay for my own dental. The only reason we don't pay for all of our dental is because Howie has insurance through work, right? But we still pay for it, right? I mean, thank God. Like last year, I had to pay over $8,000 for Revenue Quebec. No. Yeah. And this year, went down to $3,000, right? Because I didn't make as much last year. Also, and because I'm catching up because I haven't done well in the last 2 years. And also, so I still had 3 checks left of $820 that I had to send just to Revenue Quebec. I'm still paying Revenue Canada $220 a month, right? But they sent me my thing and said, okay, we're going to take your last 3 payments from last year and we're going to add them to this year's and we're going to rework it. So I'm still paying for last year's on top of this year. The year before is on top of last year's. I think we pay 8% on goods, and we have 15% taxes in Quebec. Or is it 13.5, Briar? Oh, he's got his earphones on. I keep forgetting. So what I mean to say is we're not getting what we should, right? The amount of taxes that we pay to the federal government, okay? The amount of taxes we pay, like, there's one good thing about living in Quebec, okay? If you can't afford, if you are retired or you're on welfare or disability, they'll pay for all your drugs, they'll pay for your dentures, they'll pay for everything. But all I get, okay, and this is the hard part, is we pay thousands of dollars a year in taxes, yet we only get $1,000 in dental coverage, and that's only because through Howie's work, right? So it turns out that a lot of the taxes that are being charged aren't benefiting the people that are paying them. You know what I mean? It's got to be a better system. There really does. They take almost 20% from your Social Security for Medicare. That's another thing too, is you don't pay taxes after the age of 100 in this country. Who friggin' lives to 100? And here's the deal. Even when you get your old age pension and your Canada pension, like your Canada pension and your provincial pension, they tax that as income. Even though you put that money away, you paid for that so that you would get it back when you couldn't work anymore. And here's what they do. All the time you're paying that money, they're using that they're gambling with it, they're doing stocks with it, they're giving it to other countries, hoping to get it back with interest, all that stuff. That's my money they're using, right? Your money they're using. And then when you get it back, they tax it again. It's nuts. We pay on prepared meals, but not straight food. Well, yeah, groceries, we don't pay tax on groceries unless they're like, donuts or something like that. But the thing is if anything that is considered a family pack, for like groceries, you don't pay on. Bag of carrots, you're not going to pay tax on a bag of carrots. Now, if you bought a tray of carrots with hummus in it, right? You'd pay tax on that because it's prepared. Does that make sense? Everything except food. No, we pay taxes on our food. They got a way, and let's put it this way, folks. Let's just call a spade a spade. All right? Carbon tax. The carbon tax, that looks chewed up. Covers everything. We may not pay taxes at the grocery store for a bag of carrots, but we do, because the carbon tax raises the prices. When we've talked about this before, when a farmer has to do machinery for planting, for tilling, for spreading, for disking, and then for planting, and then harvesting, and then transportation to the warehouses. That all costs gas, and gas has gone up, and it keeps going up. We don't necessarily see it. We look at $1.55 a liter. That looks pretty good, but it's not. It's actually should only be about 68 cents a liter. Okay, do you understand that? So if we're paying $1.68 for gas, I'm going to tell you, because of the carbon tax, a lot of it. So we've got the farmers who have to pay extra on their fuel. If they have greenhouses, they tax the carbon dioxide that they pump into the greenhouses to feed the plants. It doesn't get expressed out into the air. It feeds the plants in the greenhouse so that they give off oxygen. But they're going to tax the carbon that they use. Did anybody, so I'm telling you, Canada is, I'm going to keep putting this out until people stop listening. Canada is only 1.5% responsible for pollution on the planet. 1.5%. Okay? In order for us to be carbon neutral, we need 30 million mature trees on our country, 30 million mature trees to negate our carbon. Period. Full stop. 30 million trees. Everybody got that number in their head? Do you know how many mature trees are in Canada? Over 300 million. 10 times more than we will ever need. And it begs to differ why they're finding brush piles along woodland trails with magnifying glasses sitting on top. Why? Because, forest fires is a big deal for the government to push for climate change. That's all. Yeah, well, all I can say is keep it in the front of your mind as you garden, as you can, as you search for sales at farmers market and grocery stores. This isn't ending anytime soon. And I have my doubts about the upcoming elections. They don't, I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the people that we hopefully vote into power are going to be better than what we're used to or worse. Because honest to God, they treated Trudeau as if he was the Prince Regent of this country, because I treated him like that. I treated him as Canadian royalty, and I got kicked in the teeth for it. So, okay, Linda, thank you. Yes, Linda has reminded me it's time to stop talking about stuff like that. But now let's talk about gardening. Safe stuff. Howie is supposed to be out there picking apples and picking beans. But he's had a bit of a headache, so I think he's hiding in the motorhome, having a nap. So, it is what it is. I don't know how somebody can get so exhausted from having fun at the races. But at least he has it. You know what I mean? It's going to be a long winter of work on flooring and stuff like that. It's not going to be easy go of it no matter who wins. Nope. Because if someone, say, for instance, Pierre Poilievre wins, people are going to expect him to fix the problems right then, right there, right now. And 9 years of the current government has all but, for every year that the current government has dismantled something in our country's system or made things more difficult or more costly, it's going to take 2 years for a new government to fix the problem. And then everyone's going to get angry at the new government because they're not doing it fast enough. And people aren't going to like the way things happen, you know? We got Trudeau talking about I found this extreme. Okay, I'm going to drop this. I'm going to drop it. Let's just drop it. At least once a month, I get a notice from YouTube saying, oh, we've removed your content from such and such a date because of medical misinformation, because I talked about marijuana or something, you know? So let's just talk about veg. I'm going to get as much of this celery as I can in the freezer. And then I'm going to have to go out and crack the whip and pick beans. This looks limp. Let's do this. So, yes, the upcoming book, if I'm really, really work hard, I might have it available. Oh, shit, this is already September, isn't it? No, it won't be available for Christmas. It won't be available for Christmas. Sorry, folks. I'd love to have it available for Christmas, but I just do not have the time. I just don't. I mean, it sounds easy, cutting and pasting pictures and writing down recipes and stuff like that. It's not. It's not as easy as it sounds. I know a lot of people make it look easy, but it's not. Not for me anyway. So, and I have to get things, I have to get my garden in before I do anything, you know what I mean? That's kind of a winter project to begin with. So sometime between Christmas and starting seeds at the end of February is when I'll be working on it. All right, I'm going to rinse these and put them on a tray. See if I got anything else. Nope, that's no good. This looks pretty good. Anything planned for the 15th anniversary? No. No, I have nothing planned for the 15th anniversary. I have neither the time nor the money to do any kind of giveaway. So, I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. All right. Sherry. Hey, Sherry. Is celery seeds we use for cooking the same ones you plant? Linda, don't say things you don't know. No, they are not the same. The celery seeds that you cook with, the celery seeds that you cook with. Now, because you know how I know this? Because I tried it and then I looked it up. The celery seeds you cook with make a kind of a low, bushy, almost like parsley type plant. And they're grown specifically for their seed. Okay? So do not plant celery seed from your cupboard expecting to get celery. The best I can tell you is to buy tall Utah celery and start it early, water it, and once it gets in the garden, you just need to weed it and water it, and you make sure you water it every day unless it's raining. Okay? No celery seed in the cupboard is not the same for planting. No, well, there you go. You learned something new, didn't you, sweetheart? Co-op selling corn 47 cents an ear. That's like $1. That's like $5 a dozen. That's not bad, you know. I didn't get any corn this year. I still have dehydrated sweet corn from like 4 years ago. My small garden didn't do so good this year. Hope next year is better. Nobody sells things by the bushels around here. I got my peppers by the bushel. Farmers markets here are really expensive. Well, I paid $30 for a bushel of peppers, and that's what I paid last year. So I'm content with that. And I still had a bag of peppers left in my freezer from last year when I was chopping up this one. So I know a bushel of peppers will go far, right? I saw a big zucchini out there. I said, oh, I was looking at the window. I said, oh, I saw a zucchini. And Howie and Briar both go, oh, happy for you. You know, like, it's really exciting. No, they don't realize that the more zucchinis I have, the more shredded canned zucchini I can make. And it adds vitamins and minerals, guys. If you don't like, if your family doesn't like zucchini, shred it and can it. You know, because it goes in soups, sauces, stews, and casseroles. Scrambled friggin' eggs, man. Anything like that, you'll never know what's there. Vitamins, fiber, nutrients, minerals. Right? 50 cents each. Jeez. All right, I'm going to go rinse this and put it on this one tray. And then I'm going to ask Briar to take it out if it's full to the freezer for me. So I'm going to have to turn the phone down. Oi, oi, oi. Like that. I'll be right back, folks. Oh. This is what I picked yesterday, folks. This is what I picked yesterday, and what I'm noticing, that even before they're red, they're going soft. Look. And they're not even fully red. They're going soft. Nuts. But I have at least twice this much already in the freezer, along with the ones I bought. So these will be every day, whenever I pick them, and then I go through the tray, and I throw whatever looks like it's ready into the freezer. Okay, I just want to rinse these off. And what am I going to use to not drip everywhere? Good old-fashioned paper towel. Now, I had not put parchment paper on my trays for the peppers, and I wish I had, because it does make facilitating putting them in bags easier when you can pick up the parchment paper. Let's see how much we got here. Okay, Briar, can you put this in the freezer for me? Or are you in the middle of a game?
What?
This tray of celery. Thank you, sweetheart. Briar's been really helpful. Doing dishes and tidying and emptying dehumidifiers when Dad's not home, and you know how to put it on the ridges that are, yeah, okay. Daddy's the one who figured that out. Here I was trying to balance it all the time. Yeah, just put it on the chair. No, Briar, no, it's broken. I know how to use it broken. Here we go. Thank you, son. Isn't that beautiful bounty?
Smells like ass.
Oh, that's right. You hate celery.
Well, it's one of the few things I cannot stand red.
Yeah, that's true. We both love to stuff zucchini with Spanish rice. Yeah, Howie will eat zucchini as long as he doesn't recognize it. Our store had corn on sale for 19 cents an ear, but you had to buy 10. Well, 10 corn for $1.90 is pretty good. Sometimes the almonds sell for more than grocery prices in Ohio. Oh, there we go. Start on the next tray. Okay. You are... Let's get rid of the leaves here. But, yeah. So next is... I've only got 22 pints of beans so far. So as soon as I get these done, I'm going to go and bang on the motorhome door and tell Howie, come on, time to pick beans. Time to pick beans, because I am not canning carrots this year. After the second year, they start to get mushy. And the only way I'm going to be cooking them really from here on out is to drain them and saute them, like get them hot in butter and mash them with garlic. It's about the only way they're going to get any kind of use now. So I'm going to be dehydrating a bunch of carrots. Looks like there's bite marks. Oh yeah, that's just stuff I got to rinse. Right. So do you use regular zucchini to stuff or patty pan zucchinis? I did not know patty pans were a zucchini. I didn't know that. Always like that. Okay. Rosie, are you giving your tomatoes some calcium? I didn't add I didn't add the Epsom salts powder and the ground eggshells this year, and they're not as happy. Like this year, I boiled that, and I boiled it and I watered them with it, and I boiled it with like a tablespoon of vinegar to help take the minerals out of the eggshells. I prefer my powder. The powder I make when I grind up the Epsom salts and zucchini. So, make sure we got everything going on up here. I use overgrown zucchini. I prefer small zucchini for regular eating. Well, I think my pickles are done. My pickle patch, my pickling cucumber patch looks pretty yellow. And I know I left at least 3 cucumbers in there to harvest for seeds. But we'll see. You have to really let them get so they're almost bursting open. And one time I harvested them too early and the seeds just went flat and papery. So I'm pretty sure they weren't good enough for growing. So, but I'm going to try. Do I watch prepper channels? Are you asking me, just viewing? Honey, I don't have time to watch other people's channels. I barely have I don't even watch my own videos. I make them, I upload them, and I answer questions. I don't have time to make videos. Or, I mean, to I forget what the question was. Oh, okay, we're getting down to more leafy stuff here. Hey, Solitary Fairy, how's it going? Coming in. Yeah, I don't have time to watch other people's videos. Sometimes, if I do have the time, it's a video about something I'm researching, usually. But that's the only time I look at somebody else's videos, when I'm doing research. Right? So, Sam's new Frito commercial. You mean Sam Elliott? He did a Frito commercial? Oh, I guess everybody's got to make a living, eh? We just dug the last of our cucumbers, and I have enough to make about 3 more jars of dill pickles. I'm doing okay for pickles. However, the way Howie eats them, I have no doubt we will probably be buying some near the end of the season. Like at the end of, in spring, right? Howie's turned into a pickle monster. Gotta have his pickles. Which is fine. It's one more thing that's, fairly healthy for me to give him as a snack rather than, say, granola bars from the grocery store, Pickled eggs, pickles, and cheese. So that's what Daddy gets in his lunches for the most part. Cake if I make it. Sometimes I'll make a cake for a snack in his lunch. Sam Elliott does the voiceover. That's the voice, you see. It's the voice. My dad had a voice like Sam Elliott. Deep and resonant. Apparently I inherited it, but it doesn't have the same effect on men as Sam Elliott's voice has on women. Because I guess I'm not supposed to sound like this, but who knows. Hey, Corey! Beautiful September day here. Here too. I just got back and harvested some calendula. Oh, you know what? Do you know what was wrong with the inside of my arms? It was eczema or contact dermatitis because it was, but anyway, all I could think of was, man, oh man, I remember making calendula marigold cream for Briar when we lived in Elmer because he got eczema bad one winter and it worked really well. And then my nephew came up with his girlfriend and she had psoriasis and he said, do you have anything for it? So I gave him the cream because Briar didn't need it anymore. And he phoned me and said, where did you get that cream? I said, I made it. Why? And he goes, well, you got to tell me how to make it because that's the only thing that worked on his girlfriend's skin. Now, if you see hollow celery, I don't know about you guys, but to me, that's just not. Let's just look at the end and see if there's any hollow in there. Okay, we're doing okay. We're doing all right. Yeah, calendula marigolds. Are you, Solitary Fairy, are you entering the, are you going to join the, oh my God, the Seeds of Hope greeting card exchange this year? Because I would love some calendula marigold seeds. I really would. I mean, I was sitting in the truck waiting for Howie one day, and I'm looking out across, out the ravine where we've been filling it in, and with brush and stuff, and I saw jewelweed and chicory, which is a good coffee substitute, by the way. You roast chicory, you dry it and roast it. That's good for coffee. But I was looking at it and going, there's jewelweed, there's chicory, there's yarrow, there's plantain, there's colt's foot, there's sumac. I mean, all of these things are, I should be actually harvesting sumac and canning lemonade. Sumac tea. It's like lemonade. And it's loaded with vitamin C. Just like rose hips. When you don't have a lawn and you let things grow wild, you'll just see how bountiful Mother Nature can be with food and medicine. But we won't talk about that because, we're just cutting celery. But it's all a part of the garden though, isn't it? I've been saving the same marigolds for over a decade now. I have French and regular small ones and the large ones. I use French marigolds for the garden, which did nothing for my cabbage this year. And I used to use calendula marigolds. I would just grow them just to have in case I needed to make, you know, creams or ointments or anything. Let's get this first. Oh. And then when it comes time to glean, I'll be making, you know, using all kinds of stuff for broth because I do have chickens coming. I'm paying for my firewood first. My firewood is going to be $1,000, $1,080 for our firewood this year. And normally it's a lot less because normally we only get 5 cord. We're getting 8 this year because Howie goes out into the shop and works, and you know, he had a little oil stove, but it wasn't the same. But he got I forget what he paid for. He bought a wood furnace, a wood electric furnace, and so it's out in the shop, and he just uses that for the wood furnace part. So, yes, this is part of my celery harvest. I didn't harvest it all at once because I knew I wouldn't get it all in the freezer at once. So I just harvested the biggest stuff. And when I harvest the next, I will be freezing more, dehydrating some, and dehydrating leaves. Just not this time because I got to get this in the freezer. I have other things to do, like beans and apples. Apples are getting dehydrated. So that's next. As soon as Father picks them. Alrighty. Anyway, folks, I'm almost done here. And how long have we been on here? Just over an hour. Since the worldwide bug thing. What are we talking about? Oh, well, yeah. You know. We're pretty lucky. We're getting ours for, I believe it's $125 per cord, cut, split, and delivered. So, I mean, yeah, we have a wood splitter and we have standing wood that has to come down. But, and that should really come down before winter. But we haven't just, you know, if it isn't racing or gardening, it's being kind of put into the background. You know what I mean? Racing, gardening, putting a roof on the house. The floor downstairs is going to be a Life with the Wolfies thing. Because Howie's replacing it. Depending on how the mortgage situation is, when we renew our mortgage in February, we have to replace, I would like to replace all the floors upstairs here. I'm so tired. I mean, when we replaced these floors, we thought we were buying a quality product, but you know, there's been leaks and stuff like that. I'm wishing now I saw a dehumidifier on sale for $249 at Giant Tiger a couple of months ago, and I'm wishing now I had bought it because because of the calcium in our water, the float on ours doesn't work properly. I just dropped a celery. And it gets stuck, and then it overflows, and it's ruining the floor downstairs. So we have things we've got to repair, right? So, oi! Here's, I dropped a piece of celery over here. Thank God it's all getting washed again. Oh, you bugger. Come here. $460 a cord in Vermont. Okay, well, you're talking bush cord then, aren't you? You're talking 4 by 4 deep by 4 high, 4 feet high by 8 feet wide, right? That's a bush cord. We're paying. That's something we learned when we moved to Quebec. Is when you set a cord. In Ontario, you were talking about a bush cord. Up here, a cord is a face cord. And we're getting 8 face cords. So that will just do us the winter. And Howie's going to get 2 cord of the 8 put beside the shop so that he doesn't come up and steal my wood for the house. Like, there is going to be a dividing line, that's for sure. I know, isn't it beautiful, celery? I've it's taken me a few years to get the hang of it, but I love growing celery because it's such a boost to, you know, everything you make. Is, you know, it's just good. It's just good. Last night I made roast beef, pot roast, and I did everything in my big cast iron Dutch oven. I seared my roast, and I peeled potatoes, put whole potatoes around it, big chunks of carrots, and then I got about 3 stalks of celery and cut them in half and laid them all over top. Howie has discovered he loves celery that's been roasted with meat. So, and celery is so good for gout, especially celery seed. That's what I've heard anyway. I'm not a medical doctor. Please do your own research. Talk to a homeopath, whatever. Bev, I'm 58 and never had eczema, and my hands are a mess with it. Was prescribed an ointment, not working. Go to a homeopath, ask for calendula marigold oil, cream. If you can go to a health food store where they sell herbs and stuff, get some calendula, get about 3 or 4 cups of calendula marigold petals, dried. Buy a jar of barrier cream, just plain barrier cream, emulsifying cream that you get. They use it to make creams with at the pharmacy. You can buy just the plain base barrier cream. Okay, you heat that up, like a cup of it. You heat that up. You add a couple of tablespoons of vegetable glycerin and an ounce of rose water, real rose water, but you don't have to put the rose water in. And then you cook that all together until, you know, you just slow simmer it on a double boiler, okay? And then you strain it through cheesecloth and squeeze all that cream out and then put it in a jar and let it cool. That's excellent eczema cream. It's the only thing that cleared up Briar's eczema one winter. So that's you know, probably going to get me hit for medical misinformation, but look for marigold cream, calendula marigold cream. Oh my gosh, I'm almost done. Thank you, folks. You always help me get through my work. You really do. Okay. I have extended my pantry on the same level as the kitchen too. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure I understand what you meant by that, but I'm going to be doing, you know, garden medley vegetables. And then at the end of the season, it'll be garden gleaning vegetables. I've still got garden medley vegetables from last year. So this year they're going to be pumped. Just chock full of zucchini, celery, maybe grated baby carrots, whatever. Howie's not a fan of cooked tomatoes, but I can't live without them. I just can't. I love my tomatoes, you know, and I gotta have a tomato thing just like once a week. Mom had eczema, allergic to oranges. Really? Hi, Grizzly. How's it going? Well, listen, folks. This is my last bit of celery here. So then I got to go kick some butt and pick beans. And I tried to do it the other day, and I ended up putting it in the vegetables for the rice. I'm going to get some chicken out for supper. I'm craving chicken and rice again. Oops, almost cut my thumb there. So, nah, he puts up with spaghetti sauce. But I can only, like, spaghetti sauce. Okay, here's how it works. Spaghetti once a week, or goulash once a week. In the wintertime, when I'm doing a lot of soups, I'll do minestrone maybe twice in a month. Right? Because it has tomato in it. Howie, it's like my dad. My dad used to say, "You Passmores and your goddamn tomatoes." Howie says the same thing with my maiden name. This is Mrs. Wolfie saying, "Thank you for keeping me company while I chopped up my celery. I'm going to get it in the rinsed and in the freezer, and then I have to go pick beans." All right? And who knows? There may be another live tomorrow of me snapping beans. Okay? I got to go put some bug spray on. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for keeping me company. And there will be a celery video. Because when I bag it, I will probably finish the video and I'll be using the footage from here. Okay? So, before I go, I'm going to say, hey friends, this is Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead, and I'm harvesting celery. And I'm doing it gradually because there's a lot of it. This is Mrs. Wolfie saying I love you guys. Thanks for keeping me company. And I'll probably be sitting here doing something similar tomorrow. Maybe beans. Maybe zucchini. We do not know. Or apples. It all starting to come in, isn't it? Thank you, God. Take care. God bless. Oh.